am on my way back home to the city, to New York City, baby, from Albany. I just got finished taking a 3-day clinical performance nursing exam. Passed 3 days with no repeats. It was great, really. It was a great experience. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all about my experience. I'm gonna start from the beginning. So basically, I passed the FCCA in it was October of 2018. Yes, October 2018. I was originally supposed to take it August 2018, but I, like the weekend that it ended, or the weekend that the test opened, or however it went down, I was in the hospital. So I didn't get discharged from the hospital until after the testing period was over. So they allowed me to reschedule, and I rescheduled both of them. I was taking them both at the same time, and I passed ANC in November. I was kind of disappointed because, I was being pushed back, I guess, a little bit. But I was like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. So in the beginning, I was studying with a group, and everyone seemed really motivated and everything. But I ended up not really continuing to study with the group because I felt like if I didn't set things up, then they wouldn't happen. So I ended up just not studying with that group and just really focusing and studying on my own. So I probably studied with the group from about November till probably about maybe January, February or so. I'm not really sure. Yeah, maybe about February or so. Yeah, about that. In February of 2019, I was going really hard with my online business. I was making some good money, and I was like, forget about the CPNE thing. So I actually stopped studying for like 4 months. Believe it or not, I stopped studying for like 4 months because I didn't want to burn out. But one thing that I did do regularly is I wrote out my mnemonics for my areas of care. And here and there I would practice labs. But so for like the first month of November, I basically memorized all of my mnemonics. And then like every week I would go over them. So from February to about June, I was like really comfortable with not studying, like actually hands-on studying. So I said to myself, I'm going to dedicate, because initially my goal to test was June, but that wasn't going to work out. So then I gave myself another date of September to be test ready, and I wanted to test before the end of the year. I wanted to test before my 1 year FCCA came up, anniversary came up. So from July 1st, I got off all social media, and it's like was off of that. And I just really buckled down and studied. Like every night I was up studying. I was going over my medication administration. I was going over the NSLs. I was acting out my mnemonics. So I did that for about a good month. Yeah, I did that for about a good month. Within that same time, I would go over the Excelsior PCS patient care scenario packets. I would do like the care plans in those. So also one thing that I did was I scheduled weekly phone calls with the school. So even throughout my hiatus, like when I took those 4 months off, I think for like one of the months I might have missed a couple of calls, but even throughout that time I was still doing my weekly calls with the school, and I was still going over care plans with them and asking them any questions that I had. So when let me see. So when I really started working on the NSLs and stuff, I asked them whatever questions that I had. Another thing that I did to prep was I watched the Excelsior medication administration and the NSL sterile lab technique videos, and I literally wrote out the steps that they did. And that's what I used to practice and study. And then the more you do it, it really does become muscle memory. Like, you know what to do. So I did that. So in August, I think I might have got my first cancellation invitation, and it was for like September, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna be ready by September. I think it was for like the next week. It was literally the next week or 2 weeks out, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna be ready by then. But now that I'm getting these invitations, I need to really, really start preparing, because I want to be able to take a cancellation. So I gave myself until, again, September 1st to be test ready, right? To be test ready. So, and I said to myself, you know what? October will be a really good time for me to test, because I got a lot of things going on in my life, and I feel like when I test earlier in the month, I won't have to worry about anything else. I can just focus on this, right? So, that's what I did. So a couple of weeks after August 1st, I reached out to the school. I saw a cancellation date for October, and I emailed them. And first I called, and the woman told me that there was no dates, but I knew there were dates because I saw all of the dates. So then I emailed the school, and I told them that I wanted Albany Medical Center on whatever date. So they messaged me right back and told me, yeah, let's do it. So then I thought about it, and I was like, shoot, Albany Medical Center, damn, why did I pick that? But what I did do was I looked at all of the locations, and I found out which locations were closer to me, and I tried to stick with the ones that were closer to me. But I was not going to go to like certain ones. Like, I wasn't going to Middletown, Middleton. Like certain ones I just wasn't going to. But I was looking into like Albany Medical Center, St. Pete's, maybe Utica, sound like a good one. But I ended up picking Albany Medical Center, and I kind of regretted it, because a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about it. And it's where the school is, and it's the people who take the tests. You're going to see faculty people there. So it's a lot of added pressure. But I was like, you know what? I've been watching these Excelsior videos on the areas of care. I've been watching these videos on the NSLs. Like, I know this stuff. Another thing, too, I didn't use much of outside resources. However, like I'm in the beginning, I mainly focused on just the Excelsior videos. The Excelsior videos do tell you everything that you need to know. Once I really knew my stuff, I would use other things to help me, like polish up if there was something that I didn't know. I used a little bit of Rob's review, and Rob helped me with my care plans a little bit. Not a little bit, he helped me with the care plans. I helped put them together and helped me really, really understand it. Sherry, I actually did sign up with Sherry for a month, watched her videos. Greg was great. Greg was dope when it came to like the NSLs and special like lab techniques for the medication administration and stuff like that. And Sherry was excellent with the care plans, like really helping us understand how to do it. And one thing I loved about Sherry is that Sherry Taylor, she's like, basically, where is this in the NANDA book? When you're picking your signs and symptoms or your assessments, she would say, now show me where that is in the NANDA book, So that really like helped me focus and helped me understand how to use the NANDA book. And then I became real comfortable with the care plans and with doing the care plans. And once you understand how to do the care plans, the rest of it is like super easy. Another thing that I also use Christy. Like a lot of the stuff that I got was free. Some people handed it down to me. I did pay for like I said, I paid for 1 month of Sherry, and I did her weekly care plan homework. And it listened to her feedback. Her feedback was always good, so I knew I was on track. I also, once I got closer, about 2 weeks out, I think it was about 2 weeks out, I went to Steve Carter, and I did a mock with him. Steve is great. I mean, he breaks stuff down for you. He helps you, like if you already know your stuff, he helps polish you up, so you know what to like. So he makes you understand why you're doing certain things if you don't know. So Steve Carter was amazing. I really felt comfortable when I did it with him, and I felt like I would be confident in the patient's room. And he was local for me. He was really local and affordable. So Steve Carter was great. I also used Steve Carter's mnemonic. He has a mnemonic for documentation. I used that mnemonic for the flow of my PCS, how I was going to actually do my PCS, and I also used that for the flow of how I did my documentation. Yeah, pretty much. The grid, I use the grid. I use mnemonics. I wouldn't have been able to do this really without a grid, without mnemonics. No, I wouldn't have. Some people do. Kudos to them, but I'm not one of those people. They complimented me, the CEs and the CA complimented me on how organized I was, how prepared I was. My patients complimented me about being compassionate and really helping them. And, you know, they basically told the CEs that, you know, I was doing a great job and stuff like that, and they felt comfortable. So that made me feel great as well. I did have a ped for my first patient, and I did have 2 adults. I did pass with no repeats. So like I said, that was everything that I did to prep. Now, let's move on to a little bit more preparations. About 2 weeks out, I did go ahead and book the hotel at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's literally right across from Albany Medical Center. This is where it's all gonna go down. And I can see right out of my hotel room. It's not bad. Looks just like the pictures. It was a little pricey, a little more than I wanted to pay, but for me, it worked out. It was literally across the street from the hospital. I mean, I was able to see the hospital out of my room. And not only that, like, they have a pool there. There was online, they said they had a hot tub. They didn't have a hot tub. I was disappointed about that. But they did have a pool. They have a restaurant downstairs. They have like a pantry that you can buy, like a little store where you can buy stuff. There's a Starbucks there. There's a Chipotle up the road. There's a CVS up the road. So there's some stuff there in the area, and it's literally across the street. They have a parking lot in the back. You can park there. It's free, complimentary parking. They have Wi-Fi. For me, it worked. I'm not a morning person, so I was able to like get up at like 6:15. I have to be at the hospital at 7, and I was able to make breakfast and do what I needed to do. So for me, that worked. Some people stayed other places. I didn't have to move my car. I think I moved my car once on Saturday because I went to go see the college. So that's pretty dope. So here I am at Excelsior College. How about that? 7 Columbus Circle. Never thought I'd actually be here and actually come here, but I am here. And it's really nice. And it's not bad in Albany, actually. This is something. I don't know what this is. Man-made pond or something. I'm not gonna stay long. I just wanted to get some fresh air and just check the school out. So I'm gonna go up a little bit more and see exactly where the building is. That was it. But everything else, I stayed there. It was in my room. It was nice. It was clean. It was pleasant. I didn't have any issues. So that was that. I also drove because I was able to I only live a couple hours away. So I drove because I was able to bring my stuff. I brought my dummy, brown bear, even though I didn't use them. I looked at them. I had like a bulletin board that I posted. Like I made a poster of all my areas of care. And on that poster board, I also had like little cues for why I would choose that rationale. I also had all of the interventions under the interventions and why and how those interventions move the patient towards meeting their goal, or whatever the goal was. So I had all that stuff there. I brought my books and stuff. So that was that first day. Like I said, I had a so the medication administration, I was doing great. I was doing really, really great. And then I couldn't get an air bubble out of the syringe. So that had me flustered. I ended up chucking 2 saline syringes. And the third one was giving me such a hard time. Well, the last one. This is my final one because I had one that was perfect. And the other one, I had such a hard time getting an air bubble. I probably spent like 10 minutes. Legit. I spent like 10 minutes trying to get the air bubbles out. I was so nervous. Like, I didn't realize how nervous I was. I chucked like a insulin syringe because there was an air bubble in it and I pushed too much out. And I was too scared to just wipe the vial with alcohol and dip the needle back in there. So I just chucked it. That stuff didn't happen to me when I was at home. You know, when I was at home, I would be done with the medication administration station in like 25 minutes. During this test, to honest God, I probably was done in like 33 minutes. Okay? 33 minutes. So, and I'll be transparent. I did have an accommodation. So, but still, like, it was scary. It was really scary. But I did everything. I wrote my mnemonic on my, I wrote a mnemonic for the medication on my MAR, on the left side of my MAR. And one of the things I wrote at the very top is to label the syringes. I also had a mnemonic for whether I was going to have the IV push or the IV mini bag. I had a mnemonic for that. And then I had like another mnemonic that was like an overall mnemonic of things to make sure that I did. They're short little mnemonics, but they helped me. And I made sure that I checked these things off as I was going on, because you know what? It's go time. This is the time that matters. When I was at home, I didn't have to do that because I'm home, whatever. But towards my date, I started practicing by checking these off, making sure that I did it, you know. And I find that for me to be very helpful because it kept me on target and I stayed in my box. That was something else that I made sure to do, is to stay in my box. Sometimes you may have to step out of your box, but for the majority, you don't. All right? So the medication administration, that was the first one that I had, and it went well. Even though there was some hiccups there, but it went well overall. Now, for my sim lab, I had a pick dressing change, which was a relief because that's so easy. I probably was done in 7 minutes, maybe 8. It was ridiculously easy. Thank God I didn't have the wound. As nervous as I was, I didn't have the wound, and I didn't have the other one, the calf. Calf isn't so bad, but I didn't have any of those. So that was that. Past day 1. Meds, didn't really have to think about those unless I was going to give medication. So let's move on to my first day. I was nervous a little bit. I was nervous. And I'll say this. On the very first day, when you meet the clinical associate, my clinical associate was one of the women from the Excelsior videos. So that just put like a calming feeling over me. For some reason, like when I saw her, I was like happy to see her, and I was like, I just felt relieved. Didn't mean anything when I got into doing the medication administration, but it I don't know. I felt nice to see them. I don't know why, but I did. Her. And the CEs who proctored me were great. They were great. So the first day I had a child. I had a 2-year-old child. It wasn't bad. It's a child. So I had vital signs, comfort management, musculoskeletal management, and I was, what else I had? I had vital signs for her, musculoskeletal management, comfort management. I was supposed to have meds. I didn't have meds. What else did I have on this little girl? Give me a second while I think. What did I have on her? I had comfort, vital signs, musculoskeletal. Give me a second. What else did I have for her? Comfort, musculoskeletal. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember what I had for her. Whatever it was abdominal assessment. That's what I had. It was easy. So I had abdominal assessment on her. I mean, it was great. She was just moving all around as expected. So I had to like literally, I had active range of motion for that was assigned active range of motion. I was also assigned for the activity, it was to position the patient. So after I did the active range of motion with her, I literally just sat that little girl up because she was laying down. So I sat her up and literally moved her, like lifted her up and moved her in the bed. And that was it. She was repositioned. And I asked her, how do you feel? You know, she feel fine. After the range of motion, I asked her, how do you feel? And I asked the parents, how do you think she feels? She feels great. You know, she feels better now. They actually said she feels good and she's probably going to go to sleep, you know, have a good sleep after all that moving around. So that was that with that. Comfort management, it was cool. I just had, encouraged the patient. No, I encouraged the family to hold her, and then I communicated with them. That was that. And so abdominal assessment was abdominal assessment, and the vitals were vitals. Now for me, vitals were my weak part because I don't really work with patients like that. I don't really take vitals that often, hardly ever. So that was a hard thing for me, and that's another thing that I buckled down. I would do it on like any guest. I would do it on my kids. I would do it on like my family. Anybody that came over, I'm like, let me check your vitals. Let me check your blood pressure. You know, let me check your heart rate. So I did that. So anything that you're not good at, anything that you're not good at, try to master it. Yeah, master it. So because you're probably gonna get it. You know, so really try to master it. I knew I was gonna get the IV pick. The IV mini bag to me is easy, but the IV IV push. I knew it. I knew the bubble was gonna get to me, and I worked on it at home, and Lord willing, you know, I was able to. I got through it, but musculoskeletal, that was like one of my hardest freaking assessments. I mean, one of my hardest managements, but I made sure that I mastered that one. I made sure that I understood it from top to the bottom, back to the top. I made sure that I asked the school any and all questions that I needed to ask to make sure that I really knew it. And when I tell you I have musculoskeletal for all 3 of my patients, I had vital signs for all 3 of my patients. Okay? And those were my 2 areas that I feared, you know? And another thing was I heard that someone failed because they didn't check the breath sounds in the right areas. So I made sure, even though I didn't have respiratory, I made sure that I knew where those how to locate the breath sounds anteriorly and posteriorly. So don't be scared of the managements. And once you really get to know this exam, once you really get to know this test, you realize it's not hard. Like, and it starts to feel like there's not that many managements. You're like, that's it? It's only this many? It felt like more. You know, some of them kind of are the same, like wound and skin. Excuse me. The NANDAs are pretty much the same. There may be one more for musculo. And, you know, I And respiratory, I like respiratory because I like, one of my favorite nanas is ineffective airway clearance. So that is easy peasy, right? Especially if they're going to assign you deep breathing and coughing and then census barometer. Just know how to instruct them how to do the deep breathing and coughing and know how to use the census barometer. Know what they're for, Easy. To me, easy peasy. But I didn't get that. I didn't get skin. Skin is easy, but I don't like doing the braiding scale. But I know how to do it. I just don't like doing it. I don't like asking because two of the questions are like very similar. So that's why I don't like that. But I ain't have to do that either. And honestly, I literally had like the same management. I had vital signs on all 3 of my patients. I have comfort management on all 3 of my patients. I have musculoskeletal on all 3 of my patients. So I had that. I had abdominal assessment, and I had peripheral neurovascular management. I only had 5 areas of care. I didn't even give meds. So that was my, okay, so we went over my first patient. That was my first patient. She was a ped. I had those with her. My second patient was an adult. He was great. He was so friendly and so personable. With him, I had peripheral neurovascular management, comfort, musculoskeletal, and vital signs, right? He was great. He was in and out. Only thing with him is that the doctor came in, and then the nurse came in, and she wanted to give meds. I think she had like 1 med. She had an IV med. He had an IV too, but I didn't have fluid management. I didn't have it. I didn't have fluid management. Nope. And he was actually NPO. But he had a hep lock in one arm, and he had like an IV that was actually like going in the other arm. And that was that. He was great. And my last lady, I had with her, I was supposed to give her meds. She was actually in a medical unit. And so let me tell you this story. So I was assigned to give meds. I was assigned to give meds. I was assigned to do comfort management, musculoskeletal, and vital signs. Now you know vital signs, right? So there was no pertinent data for the meds. There was no labs to look up, so on and so forth. She had a bunch of pain medication. She had like Neurontin. She had Cymbalta. She had oxycodone. She had aspirin, and she had Flexeril. Yeah, she had Flexeril. So those are the 5 medications that she had. So with the aspirin, I kind of was like, well, there's nothing going on with her platelets that I can see. Well, I'm not sure why, because she was receiving heparin via IV. She had an IV too. She was receiving heparin. So I don't really know why I didn't have platelets. I don't know. I think for aspirin, I put for indication, it wasn't pain, and it wasn't an antiplatelet. It was whatever the other one is. I put that. I have to look at my book. And another thing was Cymbalta. She wasn't taking Cymbalta for depression. She wasn't diagnosed with depression. So she was taking Cymbalta for another reason. And I can't think of what it was right now, but whatever the other reason is in the book, that's what it was. But I did put both for my indication. I did put both. So I'm taking my time. I'm doing my MAR. I'm highlighting that I have to do the pain scale, even though that I wasn't assigned pain for vital signs or oxygen or O2 sets. But I know that I have to give these pain meds, so I need to take her. I need to assess her pain level, and I need to reassess it after I get the medication, right? Right. So I made sure that I highlighted the numeric scale, whatever the scale is called. I think it's called numeric rating scale. And then I highlighted highlighted the comfort management scale, the comfort verbal, whatever it's called, scale. And I highlighted for her the Morse full scale, right? So those. And so, all right, I go in and I'm like, all right, cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and, I've been assigned to do whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and do your safety checks. Then I'm going to take your vitals, check your pain. And then I'm going to go ahead and prepare your meds. And then I'll do my management, right? Which was basically... after that point, it would just been musculoskeletal. Then we're gonna leave it comfortable, right? So she's like, "Oh, the nurse already gave me my medication." So at that point, the CE didn't really budge. So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm thinking the CE should have went to confirm. She didn't. So I'm going through everything. I'm taking the vital signs, whatever. And she's saying how the nurse, gave her meds, pain meds and everything. So now I'm going to prepare the meds, and the primary nurse is there, and I'm like, oh, why don't you just, you want to ask her if he gave the meds. So she's like, oh no, I'm gonna look at the computer. Mind you, all this time, and somebody else came in the room to talk to her while I was in there doing something, or while I was in there. Actually, before I started taking the vital signs, someone was talking to her, to the patient. So all that time, the CE did not stop the clock. She didn't stop the clock. She just kept it going. So at that point, I lost about 20 minutes. And then, so she's looking on the computer to see that he gives the vitals. He gives the vitals. He gave the meds. She's looking on the computer to see if he gave the meds. He did give the meds. He confirmed that he gave the meds. And it was an accident. He thought it was for somebody else or whatever. So now she's like, okay, I'm going to stop the clock. So now she stops the clock. And she's like, she has to call the CEA. So at this point, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be like a no penalty. This some real boo-ish, I done did my care plan. I done did my grid. I done met the patient, did everything. And I didn't do anything wrong. So this is crazy. So now I'm a little emotional and nervous because I'm like, I do not want to have to do another patient. And I want to be able to get out of here and check out. I've already done comfort and musculoskeletal 2 times before. There's no reason for me to not do this right, I can sit here and say I'm a master at this point in comfort management and musculoskeletal management. So sure enough, and I'm literally tearing because I'm like, come on. So then the CA comes up and she's basically like, it's a lost area of care. So the area of care was lost. I didn't have to do it, right? So even though the area of care was lost, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Even if the area of care was lost, I still made sure that I documented that I did not give those medications. I signed, I initialed after my name. It was that, what you're supposed to put, the letters. And then in the medication section, I put meds not given, primary RN gave meds, right? And then I went back to the pain scale and I wrote meds not given for my reassessment, right? I just wanted to make sure that I didn't give them any reason to fail me. You understand? Even though they said it's a lost area of care, it doesn't matter. Don't leave anything blank. You don't want to be in there stressing like, oh man, should I have done that? Should I? You don't want to be in there because they don't take long to mark your paperwork. But even if it's 5 minutes or 8 minutes or 10, it feels like forever. It really does. It feels like a long freaking time. So you just don't want to be in there stressing yourself out. Okay? So my advice is no stones unturned. Okay? Make sure, I'm about to go around this car. Make sure that you do everything. So, alright, so I did everything that I needed to do with that patient. She was amazing. She was great. She had great things, great praises to give about me and my time there with her, and that made me feel really great. And that was it. And after I was done, I went back down to like the cafeteria area. So I went back down to the cafeteria area, and there was another student there who unfortunately didn't make it. I thought she did because I saw the paper there, but she didn't make it. And that sucks. But the thing is, like, I had to wait like 40 minutes for the CE to get done with her before the CE could even come to me. I mean, not the CE, the CA. Before the CA could give me my paperwork. So when the CA gave me my paperwork, it was like not even 5 minutes. It was like 5 minutes. Congratulations. She went over the next steps, and if I have any questions, call the school, and told me I did a great job, and tell everybody all about it. And, you know, I told her that, like I told you guys, it was great that she, you know, it was nice that she was there. Like I told you guys, it made me feel a lot better. And I appreciated that everything that Excelsior has done and has offered, you know, the students, the resources that they provide, the faculty phone calls. They were so nice, and they really were, you know, they really were. So my advice to you guys is figure out what type of learner you are, figure out how you learn best, and, you know, build on that. Study hard, you know, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, however you learn, I don't know, but you got to know this stuff inside and out. And if you're able to teach it to someone else, then you're doing good. Then you know your stuff, you know. So yeah, that's my advice. And again, you know, with the way my life is set up, would I have done Excelsior again? But I realized that sitting in a classroom, just at that point in my life, it really wasn't for me anymore. Like, I was falling asleep in class. I wasn't really paying attention in class. I felt like for me personally, I learn best on my own. Like, just give me the book. Let me sit in a corner, and I'll learn the stuff, you know? And that's what I did. So, I've been helping a lot of other people with this exam, even though I was just a student. And a lot of people appreciated my help. So I do plan to help others. I already have like 2 people that are already on my list. 3 that are already on my list of people to help. And I actually helped one girl who passed. We said it the same weekend. I helped her pass. Yeah. So it feels great. I'm so glad she passed too. So it feels good. And I'm looking forward to helping other people. So be on the lookout. If you're in the New York area, or I don't know what else this, you know, how big this is gonna get, but I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it. So if you need any help in the interim, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll help you as I study for the next thing, the next task. And yeah, any questions, let me know. Alright guys, so that was my story. That was my recap. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you found it valuable. Any comments, questions, anything, leave them down below. Alright.